Good evening, constituents.
Okay, so what I think we're going to do is we're going to break this down. We'll do maybe 2 podcasts a week. One is just us bullshitting, talking about whatever we want to talk about. And the other one will be like political happenings, what's going on in politics, current events, that sort of thing. As of the time of us recording this, it's midnight. It's 12 o'clock a.m. on the dot. Technically Valentine's Day. I'll probably try to put this out today on Valentine's Day just for because politics and all this is so constantly changing. You can't wait a week to put something out because shit and stories and spins can change so much in 7 days to where it would make this completely irrelevant. So the big thing that's been going on recently is the whole Democratic primary system.
Well, there's actually 2 things because Trump did not get impeached.
Trump was impeached. He did not
Well,
get
he
removed.
didn't. Yeah,
Right.
it was acquitted.
Right. Yes, he was acquitted from impeachment, and the Democratic caucuses and primaries have started with Iowa and New Hampshire. Iowa was a clusterfuck of a disaster that, good lord, the Democrats were hoping and praying for a fucking reset button when that happened in Iowa. They could, I don't know if you paid attention. They couldn't count the votes. The votes were delayed. This happened. That happened. Somebody's shoes fell off. So it was just the biggest mess.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't remember. I remember seeing something about an issue with counting the votes, but I never really looked completely into it.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know exactly what happened, but yeah, there were however many people voted, say, as Iowa, so let's go on the high end, say 500,000 votes. They couldn't tabulate those votes, so there were hours where, nothing came through. And it was an embarrassment. Stepping back, I mean, like you and I have talked about before, I voted for Trump. I'll probably vote for Trump again, but just stepping back and looking at it, it was an embarrassment for them, for the Democrats.
I feel like he would have to do something, and he gets a bad rep. I really think he gets a bad rep.
Trump? Oh, yeah.
He would have to do something outrageous and fucking terrible for. And again, I know you're gonna hate me for this. I probably won't vote again, mainly because I'm just out of laziness. But if I did vote, it would probably be Trump because Bernie's the front runner, and that would be overall that would tank the economy. I think.
Well,
If any one of those, either the medical or the tax bill, whatever he wants to do, medical or tax, if one of those 2 were to go through, it would fucking, in my opinion, these are not approved by these are not the opinions of the Midweek Confession, tank the fucking economy.
now it is factual, so it is the opinion of the Midweek Confession. His plans would tank the economy. Now, you said Bernie's a front runner. I'm going to put a graphic up here. You can't see this on my computer, but I don't know if are you familiar at all with the website 538?
No, but I did happen to accidentally hit the 5 on there, and I was like, is that a porn website that I don't know about?
Yeah, no. 538, their website, they're all about numbers and looking at polls and everything. They look at hundreds of polls, and the graphic I have up now is the Democratic primary forecast. They're forecasting based on all of these polls who the front runner for the Democratic nomination for president is. Right now, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 7 options. In 7th place is all others, meaning anybody who's not listed above them at less than 1%, less than 1 in 100. Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, has a 1 in 50% has a 1 in 50 chance, so a 2% chance of winning the nomination, of going head to head against Trump.
Better than that Native American shit.
Yeah. Buttigieg, our local, half an hour away, he was a mayor, has a 1 in 25 chance, so a 4% chance. Michael Bloomberg has a 1 in 15 chance. In third place is Biden with 1 in 8. Second place is Sanders with 2 in 5 or 40% chance. The most likely scenario at the end of the Democratic primaries is that nobody has a majority. So what that means is after all this bullshit, when they get to their nomination process, they don't know who's going to go head to head against Trump, which in my opinion is a fucking nightmare for them. They need to, in my opinion, if you're going to knock Trump out or have a chance of knocking Trump out, you have to have somebody now that, I get, there's all these people that they think they're going to do the best job, whatever, but if I'm a Democrat for quote unquote the greater good, you have to find somebody who can beat Trump and who people like. Because people in general do not like Trump. I don't like Trump. He's a fucking asshole. But I'm going to vote for him over almost any of these people. There's one, maybe two of these Democrats that I would vote for over him. But for the most likely scenario of being, they don't know who the fuck they're going to put against him when they go to their convention, that is Trump's dream scenario. A clusterfuck for the Democrats of them trying to figure out what's going on, who they're going to nominate, who's going to go against him, because he's got all this money he's raking up. He's got a tax and everything saved up for whoever they nominate, and they don't even know who they're going to pick to go against him.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, if I had to choose, it wouldn't be Bernie. I know that.
No.
And I'll be fair. The thoughts I do like, because overall, in the perfect world, it would definitely benefit everyone. And by that, I'm mainly talking about the healthcare. The healthcare, the college. I'm not talking about the tax. I'm talking about the healthcare and the college. It would benefit greatly.
If you took away all the money that the taxpayers would have to put into it, and just literally everybody agreed, if doctors agreed and teachers agreed, okay, healthcare is free, education's free, yes, 100%. It would be extremely beneficial.
However, the reality is that it would tank us.
Yeah. I saw a graphic that what Bernie wants to do. I'm gonna take this graphic off the screen here. I saw a thing that said what Bernie wants to do will cost $60 trillion for all the shit he's talked about doing. What he's proposed in tax changes will add in $20 trillion to the budget. So there's still $40 trillion with a T, trillion dollars of missing cash flow for this, for all these benefits and programs that he has in place. So yes, stepping back from it, being a dumb 15-year-old high school kid, that sounds brilliant. Free college, free healthcare, free this, free that. Fuck yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, it would be. But, and he's a democratic socialist.
Right.
However, it's almost more closer to communism in a way, except for the fact that we're not all getting paid the fucking same.
Right.
But his tax would make it to where we're getting paid closer to the same, which kind of takes away from the American dream. And you can't see it. I'm doing air quotes here.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now then, Biden, I kind of think he's kind of losing his fucking mind. He's a little bit too old.
So Biden, I'm gonna.
And Bernie's fucking older than him, and I think
I don't think Bernie's older than him.
he fucking looks older.
Bernie looks older. They're both late. They're both old as fuck. They're both almost 80. I'm gonna switch the graphic here to the what you were kind of getting at. I've got the Iowa caucuses up. So Joe Biden was predicted to be from the start. He's the front runner.
He finished like 5th in Iowa, didn't he?
So first place was Pete Buttigieg. Pete got 13 delegates. He got 26.2% of the vote. Bernie Sanders was in second place. He got 12 delegates with 26.1% of the vote. So Pete and Bernie were basically tied. Elizabeth Warren was next with 18% of the vote. And then Joe Biden was in fourth with round up 16% of the vote. So you got Pete Buttigieg, the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, Bernie Sanders, the Democratic Socialist / Communist, and Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren, all ahead of Joe Biden.
Sleepy.
All ahead of sleepy Joe Biden. Which is sort of baffling to me because Obama at the time was seen as this. I remember 2008 when he was first elected and 2012 when he was reelected. The pedestal that he was put on was he was this amazing progressive person, and now if you look at it, he said some stuff that I tend to agree with, but the new Democrats, the new left, are vilifying him for saying. I don't know. They're putting him down, saying he's regressive because of his policies and what you would think. Joe Biden, the first vice president to the first black president of the United States of America, would be that they would push him, but these new Democrat.
Now, when you say, because you're pretty much saying that the Democrats now are kind of going against what Obama did, yes? In a way, they're kind of.
So if we don't have video to illustrate this, but if Obama was towards
the top.
If Obama was 50%. Okay, so let's say the whole political spectrum is as far as you can stretch your arms out to the right and to the left. If Obama was 80% to the left and McCain was 80% to the right, which is not the case. They were saying Obama was not far enough left. That Obama,
he was too conservative for
the new Democratic policies that they have in place. These 16 to 19-year-old kids, yes.
But like, doesn't it kind of seem like they're playing it off like Trump is like some extreme right wing? Because when I think about it, I think George Bush was more conservative than what Trump is, in a way.
George Bush was very much so more conservative than Trump is. There's a lot of shit Trump has done that is not conservative at all. In the recent State of the Union address, hold on, I'm going to take this graphic off again. The recent State of the Union address, he's pushing for increased taxes to pay for infrastructure, the roads, this, that, the other. That's more of a liberal standpoint of having the government jump in, and like we touched on an earlier podcast with the putting a federal limit on the age to buy tobacco products and vape products.
That's fucking ridiculous.
That is fucking insane and the stupidest.
There are better ways to go about. There are better laws that could be made than that bullshit.
So I'm of the opinion, and I think you are too. When we were younger, you had still to this day you had to be 21 to buy alcohol. We were 14, 15 years old drinking alcohol, getting alcohol in a unsafe way, spending extra money to obtain this alcohol.
I had this thought. So let's think about the 20s. So prohibition started in the 20s, yes?
Late.
So.
I think it was like late 20s, early. I don't know,
Still,
but yeah,
it was in the 20s, right? So prohibition.
about
and
100 years
alcohol.
ago, yeah.
Isn't this kind of in a way? They haven't banned tobacco.
Yeah,
But they have definitely restricted it even more. And you might think, and I kind of think that if you're thinking, oh, it's only 3 years, it's a lot of fucking time. Because there's a lot of kids that start smoking at like 12, 13.
right.
And then, so now you're saying, well, now you can't get vaping products, tobacco products. Now, I don't know if that affects like alternatives like the nicotine patches, the lozenges. That's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, that's what we need. Some fucking teenagers that are going through nicotine withdrawals.
Right.
Because they don't already, do some crazy shit.
Right. Yeah, so I will forever be of the opinion, and I
Can I
think
get one?
yeah, I think we kind of talked about this before, and I'm gonna talk about this till I fucking die. The fact that you already have to be 21 years old to buy liquor. Now you've got to be 21 years old to buy cigarettes. But you can be 18 years old, buy your own house, get a credit card, fuck up your financial life
Go to the army.
forever.
Go to the army.
You can go to war. You can you can die in a war at 18 years old before you can come home and buy a cigar and a drink to relax after fucking fighting in a war. To just sit down and unwind. And that is the most hypocritical bullshit thing. I cannot wrap my mind around that. And that is the biggest mistake that Trump has made. In my opinion, he's fucked up a lot.
However, I have to, and this is, I myself don't really I don't watch CNN, don't watch Fox News. The only time I ever see it is when I'm over here.
Right.
All right. In my life, I really haven't noticed much of a difference except for the taxes.
And Trump cut the taxes.
Gotta say, I love the fact he did get rid of the penalty if you didn't have insurance.
He got rid of the Obamacare penalty. The Obamacare penalty was
some bullshit.
Jesus Christ. It was if you didn't have health insurance for the previous year, you had to pay a penalty.
$56 a fucking month.
Yeah. It turned out to be like $600 a year.
I was supposed to have a $1,200 fucking tax return.
So
56 times 12 is
it's like
$700.
Yes.
So I end up getting like a $400 and something tax return.
Right. So Trump got rid of that, and he cut the income tax rate, and he doubled the standard deduction. So you automatically off the bat, your paycheck was higher, and when you filed taxes, you got more back, because you and I can't remember exactly what it used to be, but I think the standard deduction used to be like $6,000. So instead of deducting $6,000 off your income, we're now deducting $12,000 off our income, which is a big fucking gap. And like I said, on top of that, the withholding dropped, So once that passed, my paycheck jumped. It wasn't a huge jump, but it still jumped up. I got more money in my pocket um, weekly in my paycheck, as well as at the end of the year when I filed taxes.
Yeah, because it seems like it used to be. I remember when Obama was president. This is how I did my. Because I was always good with guessing how much I'd make after taxes.
Right.
78.5% is what it seemed like it was before.
Right. Yes, that was. Yeah, I feel like that's close. And do you know what you're at now, or?
It's a bit more.
Yeah.
I guessed on this last paycheck I put it in at 82% and I was $3 short.
Yeah. So basically 82%.
Which I'm still kind of like I'm not paying enough, which is kind of weird that I'm thinking like I'm not paying enough taxes. Like you'd think that I'd be happy about, it, but like then I'm kind of worrying. But then like I got my tax return this year and I was like I'm
Right.
fine with it.
Right.
But we're kind of going off topic because we're talking about Trump and we should really be talking about crazy Bernie and Biden and Pocahontas.
Yeah. Let me.
I did see I like I said before you got here. I was on CNN and I saw this. It was this article, and I'm gonna misquote this greatly, but it was talking about Bernie's tax plan, right?
Right.
And I think it said that like three other countries, at least three others, had done it before, and it was like France, Germany, and some other country. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not go well for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like we've said, Bernie on the surface, it sounds great. It sounds beautiful.
It's the execution which is gonna fucking kill us.
Right. There's just not all that money. There's over 300 million of us. However many illegals of us. Regardless of how you feel about the illegals, they're still illegal. It just does not work for us at all. I work in the trucking industry. I have Canadian truck drivers who work for me. They have no vested interest in the United States. They don't get paid through our government. They don't live here. I've got a truck driver who has needed a knee surgery for over a year. Has not been able to get in because he's got to go through his government-run healthcare to get his knee surgery, and he's at the bottom of the list because he's not dying, so he doesn't need it. It's the same thing of people say they want the government to run healthcare, they want the government to run this, but in the same breath, the government runs the fucking BMV, and you're at the BMV for a fucking hour and a half to get your license plates renewed.
Well,
now extrapolate.
Now, are we talking? Now, this truck driver, is he U.S. or Canadian?
He is a Canadian citizen, lives in Canada. He only comes down to the States to pick up trailer.
Oh, all right.
To pick stuff up to take it back to Canada. So he cannot get treatment in the U.S. If he could, he would. But yeah, through their Canadian-run healthcare, which he gets for quote unquote free, even though his tax rate, he told me his tax rate, I can't remember what it is. It's ridiculous. He's had to wait for over a year to get his knee surgery done.
Yeah. Well, also at the same time, let's think about, because you think of Obama's Medicare.
Obamacare.
Yeah, Obamacare. When you think about it, so if you don't get it through, back then, if you didn't get it through your company where you worked,
Mm-hmm.
you paid a lot more.
Yes.
And it didn't make sense. Like, working in retail,
Uh-huh.
even now, I don't get the fucking, like, I mean, I wanted to get, like, the vision and dental, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't go to the doctor often, unless work's paying for it. But, I could see Bernie's thinking on that. And I remember there was a debate. Actually, it was the last election, I
Mm-hmm.
believe. Or maybe it was right after, where he was talking about, well, we just pay a little bit more in taxes. Well, then it
A
comes,
little bit
yeah,
more.
yeah, and then it becomes, well, how much more?
Uh.
Well, you know, we'd have to pay like 40% instead of the 20%.
It would be even more than that. It would be over 50% for us. It would be over 50% for me, probably under for you. But
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
it, to think that me as I don't mean the fact that after this tax rate, I would be taking home the same amount of money as some fucking asshole who walked into Walmart doing what and not to take away from stocking shelves at Walmart or whatever, but my job is more skilled than that asshole who's just listening to his music with the face tattoos, putting boxes on shelves, right? I think we can both agree.
Yeah.
You have to have a lot more occupational knowledge to do what I do than that. And just to think that I would be making the same amount that cocksucker is going to be making, th- that just blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, let's face it though. No one wants to get taxed more. People want to get taxed less.
These fucking idiots. Sorry, these unskilled idiots who are entitled, they don't mind being taxed more as long as you and I are taxed even more to give them their free shit.
Yeah.
To work at fucking Bernie Sanders, $15 an hour minimum wage.
That'll
$15 a
fucking
fucking hour to work at the goddamn McDonald's.
paying $8 a gallon for or $8 for a gallon of milk, at least.
My receptionist at work, she showed me a picture. Her sister went to McDonald's and ordered something without a McChicken without lettuce. She had a McChicken with no. The fucking lettuce was wrapped up beneath the bun. So she unwrapped her sandwich. There's a bunch of fucking lettuce that fell out from the bottom because they put the lettuce on the bottom of the paper wrapper and then made the sandwich on top of it. You're telling me that's $15 a fucking hour to do that?
Definitely not.
Has Bernie Sanders went to a fucking McDonald's at 10 o'clock at night and
To
had to
me,
deal with this
to
shit?
me, I don't think it should be really a minimum wage. I think it should be based on industry, really. Because I think like the fast food workers, yeah, you need to get paid.
Those
You
fast
need to
food
get
workers
paid.
should have no. Those fast food workers should have a maximum wage.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like the most that they should make
Uh-huh.
should be less than regular retail. Then you have the factory workers. Then you have like people in your industry, right?
Right.
And then you have like the higher ups, and then like it should be like higher and higher and higher.
Right. I just think that even though what I make now is higher than what Bernie's proposed minimum wage is, just start thinking that the most unskilled fucking idiot in high school making $15 an hour.
Well, then also think of it like this, too. Just because you raise the minimum wage, it doesn't mean that it raises accordingly. Like, let's say, because federal minimum wage is $7.25.
So they essentially want to double minimum wage. Yes.
Yes, actually, it'd be more than double.
For the sake of round numbers,
Yeah.
they want to double it.
All right. So, let's say you're making $9 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That company, and I've actually, when I worked at Aaron's, I was making 9 an hour, and then like $1 bonus if
Right.
I hit 40 deliveries that week. All right. So 10. They straight up told me, well, if they did raise it to 15 an hour, we would pay you 15 an hour. Which then I said, oh, then I would just go to McDonald's and make
Right.
15 an hour.
Right. Right. That's what these people don't understand is that. And again, I make more than 15 an hour. But before when I was making 14, even when I was doing what I do, making $16, $17 an hour, I would take a $1 or $2 pay cut and eliminate all of my stress to work at the fucking McDonald's building cheeseburgers, or to work at Walmart putting boxes on shelves. My pride means nothing to say, oh, this is what I do, if I'm going to make the same amount of fucking money as literally anybody else who's working. It.
And also, minimum wage jobs are really supposed to be for people entering the workforce.
Minimum wage jobs are for people who are entering the workforce, who are just getting started. You work at a minimum wage job, and then you move up, or you move into a different industry and move up. It's not. You're not meant to fucking live.
And again, my opinion, not the opinions of the midweek.
This
Confession.
sounds like it's the opinion of the fucking midweek. Okay,
It might be.
continue.
If you're a fucking adult and you're working for minimum wage, what the fuck are you doing for your
There's
life?
something wrong.
It's either laziness. Well, actually, I guess it kind of still goes back to laziness. But you should have been able to work your way up to more.
Yes.
I have never, and I know you haven't either, worked for minimum fucking wage.
Never. Not. I was a 17-year-old just out of high school. I did not work for minimum wage.
I was a little bit older, but
still,
my first
fresh,
job
just out of high school,
made more than minimum wage. Now, if I made less than that before, shortly.
Right.
But I did not make minimum wage. I knew my worth.
Yes.
Like, minimum wage should be for people with minimal skills in the workforce.
Correct.
And that's how it should
for
be.
Kids who are still in school, maybe some kids who are fresh out of high school. I made more than what did I make? 8 something an hour?
Yeah.
880. 880 an hour. And I was pushing carts and occasionally running a cash register at the local hardware store. Would you call it hardware store?
Yeah.
At the hardware store.
Home improvement store, whatever.
And I didn't deserve $15 an hour doing that. That's not a $15 an hour job.
No.
That takes no skill at all. To just say that these fucking to say that these people just deserve $15 an hour. That's an insult to people who have worked their ass off, who have been working for 2, 3, 4 years, who are making $12 an hour now.
Yeah, and it's like where I work. It's like where I work.
Right.
I have a more physically demanding job. I make less than the fucking cashiers.
Right.
I make less than, like I said last week to you and your dad, the cashier that was there maybe 6 months. I've been there 16 months.
Mm-hmm.
And he was making more per hour than me.
Right. That's just insane.
As a cashier.
That's so anyways, we kind of started this off on the Democratic primaries, caucuses, that sort of thing, and then went off into a minimum wage tangent.
We still kept a Democrat, though, because, well, you know, I want to raise that shit.
Yeah. So we're...
I see raising it to, like, 9. I think 9 is kind of a fair number.
It should be raised from where it's at. Yes, I agree. But 15, no. No.
No.
Yeah, whether it's 8, 9, 10, whatever. It should be higher than 7.25, but 15 is disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, but no. But let's get back to these primaries and caucuses.
Uh-huh.
So, Sanders came in second. Of course, he won in New Hampshire.
Right.
Which Biden stumbled. He slept through it.
Trump's best case scenario is to go up against either Biden or Bernie. Trump will tear any of them apart, but I think he would have the easiest time for Trump would be tearing apart Bernie. He's a socialist with all these.
All he would pretty much just have to focus on the taxes.
Right, which Bernie does have a solid group of supporters who will support him no matter what. Trump's got the same thing, but anybody who's in between, like you or me or whoever, listening to all of it, and Bernie spouting all this bullshit, and just objectively listening to it and trying to digest it, anybody who has any sort of brains will understand you cannot pay for this. There's no way for this to flesh out. Yes, in the ideal fantasy scenario, that would be great. But Trump, in his way, which is brash and
brash nicknames and
yes, very unflattering, he will pick Bernie apart.
And Biden.
Yes, Biden is sleepy, creepy Joe.
And he is not helping this case.
No, he's not.
Like, he came out, like, he started off as the front runner, and now he's just like, I might be fourth. I'm more white than Elizabeth Warren.
Right.
What else? Yeah. I have a feeling, because what's it called? Super Tuesday?
Yep.
It's March 3rd.
Yep.
And again, I got down on the CNN rabbit hole. And there was actually a story where, and again, CNN, so who knows how realistic it really is. They're saying that Bernie is actually, it's kind of like Trump in 2016, where people are kind of saying, like, oh, he doesn't have a shot to win. Even though more people have said that Bernie has a shot to win than anyone said Trump had to win.
Right.
No one thought of that shit.
I will never forget 2016. All that shit leading up to it, and then it's election day. It's November. I just got off work. I go to the polling booth, and the fucking line is almost out to the road, and I stand in line for, I don't know, a fucking hour, 2 hours, and I vote, and I come out. It just so happened that where I voted was literally right across the street. It's a 2-lane road, one way north, one way south, and then there was a liquor store. So I parked at the liquor store to walk across to vote. Then I walked across, went to the liquor store, got my booze, drove home, and I was living with my girlfriend at the time. And I'm watching it, and I'm texting my brother Dan, and I'm like, "Hey, are you watching the election?" He's like, "No, Hillary's gonna crush him." I'm like, I don't think so." He this is very early on. He's like, "Who'd you vote for?" And I'm like, "Trump." And he's laughing at me. I'm like, I don't know. I've got this weird feeling. And I'm like texting Dan like throughout the night, and at like 10 o'clock, 10:30, I'm like, I've only been watching CNN, and their whole dynamic has changed. Like, it's changed from like, this is gonna be such a great day, to like everybody's somber and whatever. Then 11 o'clock, I think Florida got called for Trump. I texted Dan, like, Florida got called for Trump, Wisconsin's in his favor, Michigan's in his favor, so's Pennsylvania. And Dan, who was in college at the time, was a couple miles away at his friend's house. I texted him the updates, and he's like, "I'm packing my books up. I'm sprinting home. I'll text you when I get home because I've got to watch this." And then the rest of the night until 3 a.m., we're texting like this state just got called. This just happened. That just happened. And then the AP reported Trump was going to win, but CNN still wasn't saying it. And this place reported it, and CNN still wasn't calling it. And then Trump comes out. And as he's starting to give his speech, he said, "I just got a call from Secretary Clinton, basically saying she conceded." As he said that, CNN is like, CNN can now project that Donald Trump will win the presidency. It's like, oh, okay, CNN. AP reported this, Fox News reported this, Google reported. Everybody reported this, but you were holding on to whatever sort of hope that you had, and just that was
they were getting different vote counts.
Yeah. But I stayed up until I watched his speech, and my blood was pumping so fast. I didn't go to bed till after 4 a.m. that night, that day, and I had to wake up at 6:30 to go to work. And I was so hyped to go to work. And this is not long after the Trump saying grab him by the pussy and all that.
Yeah, and people thought that was going to, this is going to ruin him. And I was like, this is going to fucking make him look like...
Yes. So I walk into work on an hour and a half, 2 hours of sleep. I was still probably still half drunk. And my office was kind of evenly split, I would say. And this guy I worked with, who's a couple years older than me, his name is Matt. I'm like, "Matt, did you see that?" I was in his office. He was an accountant. He looked at me. He goes, "Yeah." And it was just like a couple second of just silence between us, and like this, like, what the fuck just happened? He goes, "So does that mean we can just start grabbing pussies now?" And I'm like,
yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Yes, sir, it does.
And not too long later, you were fired.
I didn't get fired from that place. I quit. I walked out.
Before or after you grabbed him by the pussy?
That was November of 16. I stayed there and left August of 18. Yeah, August of 18. So I was there for a while. But, yeah, so...
That's like the greatest underdog story of all time. Fuck the Miracle on Ice.
The Miracle on Ice, fuck... And anything.
They
should have had Al Michaels. Yes, they should have Al Michaels right there. fucking 2:30 a.m.
They should have had Donald Trump come out to Hulk Hogan's theme song.
Oh, well, God damn it. I was going to... I hate you. I was going to set this up at 2:30 a.m. Everything's kind of going. You hear Al Michaels, "Do you believe in miracles?" And then it cuts to Trump walking out to Real American immediately. And then he starts, "Sorry to keep you waiting. It's complicated business." Yeah. Yeah, doing the Hulk Hogan flexing. Oh shit! All right. We've been at this for a while. I think we got a good start for this. Our first.
I think the next one we should talk about, because we'll be doing this before Super Tuesday, obviously. So I
Right.
think we should talk about projections for Super Tuesday.
Yeah. We'll look at this. This will come out. So I think I might have talked. I don't know if it was in this one or the other one because we recorded 2 podcasts tonight.
Let me ask you this: if let's just say I say the underdog because he's getting a late start, but if Michael Bloomberg were to get the nomination against Trump, who do you think?
I have not yet to this point studied Bloomberg's policies enough. That'll be ask me that question next week, and I'll give you an educated guess on that.
Yeah, because I don't know, but I have a feeling like he might have been the one in New York, because you know how they have those gun laws in New York.
Yes, so Bloomberg was right after This is what I know. Giuliani left end of '01, beginning of '02. Bloomberg came in '02. Bloomberg fucking shot up stop and frisk, which is a huge no now. And all of that. Giuliani got rid of, regardless of what you think of him as the attorney or whatever the fuck he is now, he got rid of a lot of crime. He prosecuted the mob. He went after fucking everyone, and he was good at what he did.
That's my thing. Just going off of those two, if I had to, like, let's say if it was Giuliani, like imagine if Trump was like, I'm not gonna run this year, and Giuliani was like, oh fuck, I'll go for the Republicans, and it came down to Giuliani and Bloomberg.
Right.
Just off of what Giuliani did in New York and with the crime, or cutting down the crime,
Right.
I would go with Giuliani.
Yes. So, if you could take out all the... If Giuliani would have ran for fucking president in '04 even, he would have destroyed everybody because of how he handled because of how he handled 9/11, all of that. He was he still is, regardless of what you think about him. He's still a strong voice. He is 100%. He believes in what he says. I just don't know enough about Bloomberg to honestly give you any opinion either way on him. And that's something I will look at and research and see his views, and we can talk about.
Because my only concern is, again, with the gun laws in New York,
Right.
if he were to bring something like that to try to bring that to the rest of the country, that's a problem.
Yes. We have a Bill of Rights. We have the amendments for a reason. The Second Amendment, in my opinion, is the second most important amendment. The second most important right that we have as Americans. The first one is you can say, believe, think whatever you want. The second one is to be able to the right to bear arms, to have a gun, to have guns. And the new Democratic thought process is you shouldn't be allowed to have guns. Like,
The new Democrat thought process is so far left, it's kind of scary. They themselves have kind of turned into the bullies that they
oh
said
god,
that
yeah, they
Trump
have.
that they said that Trump was, and Trump is kind of a bully. Let's face it, Trump is a bully in a way.
Yeah, right.
However, they've decided to go hard in the paint on that one, and they're like, "Yeah, we can do that too, but we're gonna do it to our own people."
Right, right. It it's just I cannot.
They are pretty much saying, "Oh, you support Trump? Fuck you. Oh, you support Bernie? Fuck you." But yet they don't have a front runner, so I don't know who the fuck.
Right, right. Yeah, like being totally objective and stepping back from it. I don't see how you can put. I don't see how any of them are. I, I would. This will never happen. I would vote for Tulsi Gabbard over Trump. But she has no chance of winning. I will never vote for Bernie. I will never vote for Biden. Not Pete Buttigieg. There's none of them that I, as a normal American, would vote for.
No, no, it's kind of a shit show.
It is 100% a shit show.
It's even more so than 4 years ago with the Republicans.
Yes. Yeah, and that was a fucking disaster. But there, Trump. To be fair, Trump shot to the top of the polls and stayed there. He did not move.
Yeah, yeah.
The
And
the
CNN was like, well, I mean, this won't last for long.
the Democrats had Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg jumped up there for a little bit. Literally everybody's been a quote unquote front runner for a while.
Yeah. They're fucking,
So, yeah. But
they're kind of fucked.
yeah. So we'll continue. We'll have another debate next week, or not a debate, but a conversation on the whole political process. Maybe something will happen between now and next week, and we've got more to talk about. Otherwise, it'll just be more of kind of the same, talking about the primary process and where the Democrats are in their nomination procedures.
Yeah.
All right, do you have anything else to add before we close this off?
I've got nothing. Just
Alrighty.
follow us on Twitter. Mid_confession. And the dirty _ dog 2Gs.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
That's the ticket. Goodbye.